Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Thursday, September the 18th, 2025. I'm getting a little bit of a late start today. The stock market has been the stock market has been closed for 2.5 hours at the time of this recording. So I'm a little bit behind the schedule. I try, even when it's not a set time for a live presentation, I try as best I can to do this within an hour, give or take, of the close of the market. So that window of an hour before to an hour after the market is when I like to get this done, but I missed it by a little bit today. Let me change this view real quick because what I want to show you is, I know you're probably aware of this, but all three indexes finished to the upside today. Dow up 124 points, S&P up 31 and almost 0.5%, NASDAQ up almost a full percent at up 209 points. And listen, I have to confess when I'm wrong on something, I want to admit that I'm wrong. I thought today would be a sell-off day. I thought after the move by the Fed yesterday, we would have a letdown and a sell-off today based on the comments that Jerome Powell made. I think you saw it here when I first switched to this screen. Futures for tomorrow. Now, a lot can change between now and tomorrow morning, but futures for tomorrow already show the three indexes all a little bit. So, we'll see. It's tomorrow. Look, I was wrong about today. I thought today would be a sell-off. I don't know whether the movement today makes me feel I'm somewhere fighting in this internal battle of whether I think the sell-off today makes, or excuse me, the rally today makes a sell-off tomorrow more likely, or whether I'm just completely wrong on my 3 to 5 week outlook, and we're going to have another strong bullish run in this market from where it's at, which is already sitting at all-time highs. So I believe the close on the NASDAQ today, I believe, is a new all-time high. I think the close on the S&P is a new all-time high. I might not have my indexes in my list of. Let's see if I can really quickly get to a chart of the NASDAQ. I know a number of you have noticed that I'm using I'm using bar charts now instead of stockcharts.com. I'm trying it for a while. I haven't gotten rid of stock charts, but I'm using bar charts. Get the NASDAQ up as an index here. Maybe not. That's not going to come up the way I want it to. Okay, I'm gonna switch charts real quick here and go to my charts.com. There we go. We'll jump over here for a minute where I know I have the NASDAQ right there. So yeah, new all-time high on the NASDAQ. Sorry about that. New all-time high on the Dow. New all-time high on the S&P. This is all-time high closes. I believe a couple of days ago, the Dow intraday might have got a little higher than where it closed today, but it hit a new intraday high today and closed at a new high on all three of these indexes, I believe. So, yeah, and like I said, my prediction from Wednesday afternoon so far dead wrong. Now, like I said, I don't know whether to think it makes it more likely that tomorrow will begin that sell-off, that it'll be kind of a delayed reaction of the buy the rumor, sell the news situation, or whether we continue up. Notice on this chart what hasn't changed is, look at how flatline the MACD is. Now, the MACD is a momentum indicator, and you can see that this has been, especially that 20-day moving average, very steady line. And the RSI has traded in a tight, flat range. In other words, it's not trending on a diagonal to the upside or the downside. That's why you can have the stock chart look like this with the MACD so flat and so it looks almost dead in the water. Did the same thing back here, but this is a tight range of a very steady movement up, and then the MACD shifts when you get those momentum changes. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a fantastic day tomorrow. there was not, more news, a little bit more news, a little bit more, for lack of a better way to describe it, sort of digesting and chopping up and analyzing and quantifying what the Fed did and why they did it. There's more talk about the TikTok stuff going on. I took some time to read this article, this second trending article. Um, the author of this article is I'm not a fan of his at CNBC. Every now and then he writes some stuff that I think is so far off the mark. But it's an interesting read. This is I shouldn't pick on him when I'm about to compliment what he did. It's an interesting read. He gives you some details about some of the dissent in the Fed and how much of a variance there is in the Fed dot plot, where each of the Fed govs anonymously makes predictions 1 month out, 3 months out, 6 months out, a year out, 3 years out. And they make predictions about where inflation rates will be, where unemployment rates will be. And then they match all those up on this dot plot and kind of figure out how much of a consensus or how divergent things are. This article basically says there's more divergence than normal, even though there was a near unanimous vote yesterday by the Fed, 11-1, that they should cut 25 basis points. And the one dissenting vote was in fact for a 50 basis point cut. So it wasn't like a contrarian go the other direction vote. It was the one vote saying 25% is not enough. We need to do 50 basis point cut. So, but I guess on this dot plot there is a greater divergence than there usually is as they look forward. So it creates maybe a little more uncertainty about what the Fed is going to do in the coming months and in the coming years. So it is an interesting read. If you have time, I would actually, even though I'm not a huge fan of the author, I would actually recommend this article. I think it's a good article. As it goes for a couple of our trades, on the SOS spread trades, our portfolio here looks fantastic. We got a big boost on Nvidia today. We got a big boost on Palantir. And our CrowdStrike trade has come back so far. I still have not read specifically what the cause of CrowdStrike's move was today, but CrowdStrike had an unbelievable move to the upside today, almost 13% up for CrowdStrike today. And it just shot out of the gate immediately today, went way up, had a steady climb, and then just flattened at a very high plateau late in the day. I have not read details about why CrowdStrike did what it did today. Upbeat long-term guidance at their investors. Okay, there you go. I hadn't heard that this morning, and I'll have to read into this and see. They obviously made some commentary about their longer-term guidance. I've been more bullish than bearish on this company for a while, long-term. I got to be careful. I say long-term, even though short term it's been a company under pressure. Started to come back about a week and a half ago. Look at that move today. It's just absolutely incredible, pushing it up in the direction of all time is up around 520. We did an adjustment to this one today. I think it looks like it's probably loading right now as we speak. Our loss on this was in this $10,000 portfolio, the loss was to the tune of, I want to say $1,500, $1,600, $1,700, 60, 70%. We made some adjustments. It's come way, way back. Now it looks like CrowdStrike, after an adjustment we made this morning and the continued move up, down only $50 a share. I will tell you this right now. Probably I would anticipate at least a little bit of profit taking in CrowdStrike tomorrow. If you're in a spot where you're only down this 2.12%, you might want to see that as a gift and exit the trade. It boosted our overall year-to-date performance dramatically. We're approaching 350%. Our Nvidia trade way up today from where it was yesterday, and our Palantir trade. We've got our third or fourth Palantir trade of the year, and boy, that has been a moneymaker for us. That one has been absolutely phenomenal. The growth we've seen in Palantir. So all in all, things are looking really good. On the triple play side of things, most of you, I think, are probably out of Home Depot. If you're not, be careful tomorrow with Home Depot. If Home Depot starts the day, they were way up at one point in time today, had a good like 1.5% to 3% up. They gave up a lot of where they got to early in the day. They were up here 422, 423. It looks like the highest they got. Oh, maybe I'm off. Highest they got today was 421.39, but they closed at 417. Realize that's only $5 away from where our short call is. Home Depot is more than capable of moving $5 inside of one trading day. Be careful with Home Depot. If you're not out of it already, maybe consider right at the open tomorrow just exiting the trade. You should be profitable. You should have a decent profit. Yeah, at the end of the day, they only finished up 48 cents. I didn't realize they'd given that much back. And you can see how at one point in time today, they had a nice move up. I believe this was about a 3.5, 4, maybe $5 move to the upside. And then they kind of steadily, sort of in a choppy way, they just gave it up throughout the day. So we needed to finish, above 112.50 or 412.50, 412.50. So hopefully they get a little bit more tomorrow. And we need to watch that one exit. The other trade we got to watch out for is the DIA trade. DIA at one point in time this morning was up more than enough for us to be guaranteed profit in our trade, but it closed today at 462.63. That is about 38 cents away from where both options would be in the money. And what you've got to be careful of is your broker, if you don't have enough money to own a whole bunch of shares and you're trading in between strike prices, your broker can exercise for you later in the day and just close the trade for you. We had that happen. A lot of people had that happen with Netflix a few weeks back. As they sit right now, as long as they were at or above that 462.63, we would actually be profitable in the trade. Not by a lot, but we would be profitable. My trade was profitable at the close today, but I did not close it out. So hopefully there is a move up. I mean, this is pre-market and a lot can change between now and tomorrow morning. Hopefully the Dow opens to the upside tomorrow. Whether it does or doesn't, unless it opens way to the upside, we probably just need to close that DIA trade first thing in the morning if you haven't done so already. Everything else we've got is looking pretty good. There's nothing else that needs immediate work or immediate adjustments on it. Airbnb trade, I think, is the only other one that's open right now. Mine's profitable, but only by a couple percent. I'm going to leave that one where it is for right now. I'd love to see Airbnb get a little more profit before closing it out. They're making a nice move over the last 3 days back to the upside, and I think they actually are going to cross over and probably get up close to this 130, 132 mark in the next few days. And for a double diagonal, that's trading the way they are. We'll watch that one in the morning as well. I think that's all I have for today, so I'm going to wrap up right there. I will be on Discord in the morning watching as the market opens and give additional instructions if there's anything that I think we need to do right at the open. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.